You're welcome to my channel. In this video we are going to be looking at the advantages and disadvantages of delegated legislation. In the previous video we were able to look at the definition and the forms of delegated legislation. We say delegated legislation, these are laws that are made by an individual or a body other than the parliament. And the forms that we had statutory instruments, we had ordinances, and then bylaws. So in this video we are going to be looking at the advantages and disadvantages of delegated legislation. Excuse me. So the first advantage that we are going to start with advantages. So the first advantage that we have is that delegated legislation gives Parliament time to focus on other critical roles like analyzing policy issues and other oversight roles. So delegated legislation enables Parliament to concentrate on key functions like policy analysis and leaving detailed lawmaking to specialized bodies. So by delegating, by assigning other people, or by giving other people power to be able to make laws, the Parliament can have time to concentrate on other things. For example, the Parliament can focus on national security, economic policy, while they are delegating the road traffic regulations to local authorities, because Parliament people can't be in Parliament discussing about road traffic. So if they delegate that, they are saving time to do other things. Then the second advantage is that some matters are so urgent that they require immediate attention to be addressed. This situation may require that a law is passed immediately, for which Parliament may not have time. So laws may need to be made quickly, and Parliament may not have time to go through the full legislative process. Therefore, delegated legislation allows a rapid response. For example, the public health regulations during the COVID-19 pandemic were handled through delegated legislation for a quick response, because Parliament could not give that immediate response like what was needed. Another advantage that we have is that matters to be legislated on may be so technical that they require technical persons to handle them, and not all parliamentarians are so technical enough to handle all matters. So expert knowledge can be got by delegating power to legislate. So when they delegate, it allows people with expert knowledge to be able to legislate on what they know. So some matters require specialized knowledge that Parliament members may lack, so delegated legislation allows experts to contribute to lawmaking in their areas of expertise. Then another advantage is that future difficulties are better handled with delegated legislation, especially where service charges are involved. For example, the payment of fees like stamp duties. So delegated legislation is more adaptable to changes. So it can easily be changed, updates can easily be made compared to an act of Parliament. So delegated legislation is more adaptable to changes, particularly in areas that need regular updates, for example, the service charges or fees. So the stamp duty rates can be adjusted by a delegated authority without needing a full parliamentary process of making laws. Then another advantage we have is that delegated legislation addresses the detailed aspect of the law, which may have been overlooked by Parliament. So Parliament may overlook the specific details when they are passing laws, because they cannot know the details of everything that is happening. so they may overlook the details, but delegated legislation allows for these aspects to be addressed more thoroughly. For example, the detailed traffic regulations like the speed limits, the road sign placements are often handled by local authorities because they usually know what's going on compared to Parliament. Then the last advantage is that delegated legislation ensures flexibility as it is simpler, and in case of any unfairness it can easily be amended. So delegated legislation can be amended or revoked more easily compared to primary legislation or compared to acts of parliament. So it allows faster adjustments in case of impracticability or unfairness. Yeah, so those are the advantages of delegated legislation. Then we go to the disadvantages of delegated legislation. The first one is that delegated authorities at times given powers to legislate on matters of principle which should only be dealt with Parliament. So sometimes delegated authorities are given the power to make laws on critical issues that should only be addressed by Parliament. For example, a government agency may set fundamental rules about citizenship or immigration that affect the constitutional rights, and such areas are supposed to be dealt with by Parliament. Then the second disadvantage is that Parliament, which is the laws. The second disadvantage is Parliament, the supreme law-making organ of the state, may lack control over delegated legislation, and this may lead to passing of dangerous laws. Since Parliament delegates its lawmaking powers, it may not fully oversee the laws that are being passed, and this can lead to a risk of passing inappropriate or dangerous regulations. For example, a regulatory body may impose excessive restrictions on businesses without proper parliamentary review, and this can affect economic growth. Another disadvantage is that delegated powers may be so wide, and this may create uncertainty about the prevailing laws, as well as leading to multiplicity of laws that may be contradictory. When too much lawmaking power is delegated, it can lead to confusion and legal uncertainty. Multiple laws may contradict one another, which can cause difficulties in enforcement and understanding of the laws. There is a risk of an authority to which power is delegated to exercise those powers beyond the permitted limits, in which case any law thereby passed will be void or ultra-vires. So, in case an authority that has delegated powers, if they use it beyond their limits and they pass the law that is not within their powers, that law that they pass is considered void or invalid. Yes, so the delegated authority may exceed its legal powers, and any legislation that is made beyond their limits will be invalid. Then another disadvantage is that the publicity of delegated legislation is inadequate, so people may not be aware of the rules and orders passed by the ministries. So delegated legislation is often not as widely publicized as the laws that are passed by Parliament. So as a result, people may not be aware of the new rules and regulations that affect them. Yes, so those are the advantages and disadvantages of delegated legislation. Thanks for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, like, comment. Let's catch up in my next video.